Hi, this is Isabel Litzler, the place to be to develop your skills and grow your potential. So, I wanted to catch up on making some new videos for you so that you can get some insights for your career coming this fall 2022. So, let's get started. 3 tips to help you identify key contacts. So, before we get started, the first tip is really to search for the right events online because the right events mean more chances for you to find the right contacts. In other words, if you're in finance and you go to a marketing event, probably it's not the best way to get to talk to the right people and get the right information. So really, the first step is really to look at events online and to check at these events and see how related they are to your profession. So when you go on sites, which I will list below, like 10 times, for example, or Eventbrite, make sure that you're looking for events that make sense to you. So you have to do a little bit of analysis of your profile, what it is that you're doing, and what type of contacts are you looking to gain to grow your career. So for example, if you're in finance and you want to grow your career for maybe a bigger job in finance, well, you need to meet maybe CFOs or people who work in project management in finance. And those types of people will probably go to very specific events. Now, when you look at events online, you can identify when you look at speakers, for example, or even when you click on the attendees list, you can see if you have the type of people that would be interesting for you to meet before you spend your time and money. So really the first step is to identify the right events, make sure that they match with what you're looking for. That takes a little bit of analysis of your profile, figuring out if the event makes sense, if it's going to be also online or offline. Do you have the time to go there? I always recommend to check more of the common ground between you and this event rather than going to maybe very expensive events, very big events where in the end you end up meeting nobody. So I find that the smaller ones tend to be better in person. And if you go online, make sure also that they're relevant for your time. So to be very focused is really the key word there. Number two is when you go to the events, make sure that you also identify the right people. There should always be a connection going both ways. So if you start talking to somebody and this person is not really engaged and they don't really chat back to you, or you can see that their eyes rolling or they're looking elsewhere, don't spend too much time with people that are not engaged. So if you want to be meeting the right people, it always means that there's a synergy that goes both ways. So if you make the mistake of, okay, let me go to an event, get as many business cards as possible, talk to anybody, you may have more business cards, but it's not going to be very good contact. So I would say focus on the quality. Even if you only meet 1 or 2 people, but they're engaged, you had a great chat, and it's going to be easier for them to connect with you further once you leave the event. So picking up the right people is really essential, and that's something that's natural in a way. Sometimes people contact me and say, I would love to talk to such and such person, or how do I keep my nerves down, or it all comes down to maybe not feeling a fit, because if you find people that are your right fit, meaning they have the same mindset, they go on the same journey, they are very much focused like you on growing their careers, you're not going to be nervous around them because there's going to be the similar path that you take together. The times where I was always a bit nervous around people is when they're mismatched to me. So they tend to, maybe they're not following the same objectives, or maybe I'm not the type of a person they want to talk to, or we're just not the same. So that's when you feel nervous, or you feel like, oh, I don't like networking. It's because you're knocking on the wrong door, so you have bad experiences, and then it makes you not want to do networking anymore, where in the end it's just a question of not having met great people that are your match, that are on a similar path as you, and it's not always going to be the ones that you want to meet. So that's why it's not really worth saying, I want to meet the CEOs of such and such companies. Rather is, I want to meet people who are like-minded, who see the world in a very similar way as me, or maybe they see it a bit differently, but we can have a talk, we can communicate. So they tend to be, again, there's this idea of like-mindedness. That's why when I do coaching and I introduce people to my network, I always make sure that the like-mindedness is going to be there, and then I increase the chances of the connection being successful. Because again, like-minded, people of the same feather flock together. There's a reason for this saying. You will be successful surrounded by people who are in the same journey as you. So that's number 2. And number 3 is, messaging contacts very shortly after meeting them, whether it's online or offline, and making sure that you keep this going. So the mistake that people make is that they have an introduction with someone, or they meet someone, they talk to someone online, and then they just keep it somewhere, but they're not really keeping up the connection. So you have to message immediately to that person afterwards, and you also have to maintain the connection. So I always tell people, you have already a network, but there are people maybe you've met years ago and you just matched at some point and you forgot about them, and now you're like, I need a network. But start already with the people you have and make sure you maintain those contacts by just sending them a message. Hi, how are you? It's been a long time. What is going on with your projects right now? There's really 2 times in the year where I find it's a good time to catch up or revive your network. It's going to be around the end of the year, because it's a great way to say something about the new year coming and wishing well and so forth, and reviving the network. The other one is right after the holiday seasons in the summer. Did you have a great summer, etc. So those are always 2 times when it's easy to revive a network. But again, it takes this like-mindedness. If people are not engaged with you, don't take it personally. It's just not the right contact. It doesn't mean you're not good at networking. They're just not the right contacts for you. So there's never a fail in networking. It's more about finding the right people that are going on the same journey, and you want to help each other go further. So that's it for today's video. Feel free to comment. Do you like this new format, audio version? Do you like the content? What do you want to hear more about in terms of networking? Always good to know. Talk to you soon.